Hey everyone, and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of the new Corsair RM series of 80 plus gold modular power supplies. As you can see, they are available in a variety of wattages. So we have 450 watt, 550 watt, 650 watt, the 750 watt version, which I will be unboxing and giving you a closer look at. Also available in 850 and 1000 watt varieties. Let's start off with a closer look at the retail box. This is a power supply that features a lot of high-end features. It's definitely designed for silent operations, so to that end you can see over here a low noise fan, also a 0 RPM fan mode, which means that depending on the load that's on the power supply, the fan won't even spin up at all until it actually needs to move some air across the components inside, so that will keep it dead silent, at least until you get it up to a certain load. 80 plus gold means that the amount of power it's going to be drawing from the wall is going to be more efficient than otherwise, and there's a chart on the back, so I'll give you a closer look at that. You get a 5-year warranty from Corsair. You also get the option for Corsair Link, so you can use that in tandem with some other Corsair products, or you can use it by itself. It's a bit of software you can load up to give you more detailed feedback as well as control on the power supply and how it's working in your system. It's also fully modular with flat black cables. You can see a quick look here at the chart for the 750 watt version, at least the cables that are included. I'll show you guys a closer look at that once we get it out of the box. And then also here on the back, here is that efficiency chart right there. So you can see, depending on the system load, 20%, 50%, and 100%, here is your arc for efficiency. So it's going to vary between 89 and 92% efficiency, and that is for the 115 volt AC, and then you also have the 230 volt AC for folks who maybe are in Europe or other places that use 230 volt systems. Also down here for fan noise, as you can see, 0 RPM fan mode will go up to 40% system load. After that, it will kick up to about 10 to 20%. Actually, it looks like maybe 12% or so, and then it'll crank up even further beyond that, depending again on the amount of load you're drawing from the power supply itself. Lastly, I did want to point out this is a single rail design. So down here in the lower right, you can see our power chart for the rail configuration on this particular unit. And as you can see, single 12 volt rail designed with 62.5 amps. And I also want to point out that Corsair has rated this for continuous power. This is not a peak power rating, so that is continuous power 750, and they do test at 40 degrees Celsius. Taking a look inside the retail box, we have, first off, warranty guide. That's for your 5-year warranty from Corsair. We also have a product installation guide with some safety information. So this is going to have, oh wait, no, this is actually not an installation guide. This is safety info. It's electronic and a choking hazard, so bear that in mind. Apart from that, we have all of our modular cables, of course, our AC power adapter, a few more accessories in this little baggie, which are a Corsair or Powered by Corsair case badge, which is never more appropriate than with a power supply. You get a little set of zip ties right there. It looks like 8 or 10 of them, 10 total. And then, of course, you get some black screws there for mounting the power supply to your case. A heavy-duty or heavier-duty, thicker gauge power supply AC cable. It looks like it's, what is the 16 gauge power cable right there with a little cap over the AC plug. Other end, of course, goes into your power supply. These are pretty interchangeable, but I will say if you're using a higher wattage power supply, make sure you keep it paired up with your heavier gauge power supply cable, because some of them can draw more wattage than the thinner kind of default cables are actually able to handle. And here's the power supply itself. Let me go ahead and get a bit organized with the modular cables here, and then we'll come back and take a look. And here's all the modular cables that come along with the 750 watt unit. Again, bear in mind what we're looking at here is the 750 watt. All the more specifics, such as the types of cables and connections that are available, should be listed on the individual product pages for the other wattage versions. First off, we have your main motherboard power connector right there. So that's your 24-pin motherboard power connector on this side. Over on this end, you got a couple individual plugs that plug into the power supply itself. Also want to point out that all of these cables are, they're not sleeved, but they are all black colored, so that will keep keep your build looking nice and tidy. You won't have any of that sort of garish multicolored cabling coming out for your main motherboard power connector. And they're also flat ribbon style cables, so that again will assist with cable management if you're routing a lot of cables through and want to keep them tied down and nice and tidy. You also get a single CPU, supplemental CPU power connector right here. So again, 8-pin side here goes into the into the power supply, and then on this side we have a splittable 4+4 pin, which is kind of snapped in right there. You can unsnap that and do a simple 4-pin if that is what your motherboard requires. For PCI Express or graphics card power connectors, you get a couple of these cables. Again, 8-pin on the connector side for the power supply, and then a couple PCI Express 6+2 pin connectors. So those will work for a 6-pin or an 8-pin PCI Express power connection for a graphics card, and you get 2 of those cables, so a total of 4 of those 6+2 pin PCI Express power connectors in total. Finally, for peripherals, we have a set of these cables right here. First off, you get one of these guys, and this is for the older style Molex plugs. It does have the little squeeze to unconnect the Molex plugs, which I tend to like because Molex plugs can stick at times. 6-pin connector that goes into the back of the power supply itself. 4 Molex connectors right there. You also have a couple adapters provided for the Molex plug. If you do happen to have a device that still uses the older style floppy connection, you get a couple of those, so you can plug in a couple floppy drives or other types of products that might use that floppy drive connection. Simple Molex plugs on the other side. Here's your Corsair link cable. So simply plug this side into the power supply, route the other 2 ends over to your motherboard. Then you can take advantage of that Corsair Link functionality as well. Just got to download and install the software from Corsair's website. Finally, for your main peripheral connectors, or probably your most frequently used one, that's going to be SATA. You get a couple of these plugs, which have 3 SATA connectors, and again, that 6-pin plug for the power supply end. So that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one more that actually has 4 on it, so this one's an overachiever. So that gives you a total of 10 SATA devices total that you can connect using these cables. Next up, let's move on to the power supply itself, which is located right here. You'll notice the RM750 logo there on the side, and you also might notice that you have it on both sides, so depending how you want to mount the power supply's fan, which I tend to mount in the lower, in a down-facing position, if in a typical case where the power supply is mounted at the bottom, provided it does have a dust filter or something like that for airflow. But you can go either way. Again, it just kind of depends on the configuration and your particular needs. Here at the back, you can see the modular cable connection points, so your Corsair link there as well. There's your 6-pin connectors for peripherals and SATA. 1, 2, and 3 8-pin connection points right there. Those are for your PCI Express graphics or the 4+4 CPU power connector. And finally, up here at the top, your 24-pin ATX, which is split into a couple plugs for the power supply end to keep things a bit more straightforward, so you can't accidentally plug one of those somewhere that it's not supposed to be plugged into. Here's another look at that power chart we already showed you on the outside of the retail box. But again, this is based on a single rail design, which tends to give you a bit more stability, particularly if you're going to be connecting a higher-end graphics card up using the PCI Express graphics connectors. You should get nice stable wattage, and again the 750 watts here is continuous power, not peak power, and that's a pretty important distinction to make when you're talking about power supplies, because you got to make sure that the power supply can handle even those peak loads that you might get, for example, when you initially start up your computer, which not all power supplies are as direct or straightforward about. They've put a little tag on here just to let you know this fan will not spin in silent operation mode, and since they don't want people thinking that the power supply is not working properly, they've added a little sticker. Here on the top you can see the bit of grill here to keep the fan protected. There's your 130mm silence optimized fan right there. It's going to keep the components nice and cool while also staying nice and quiet, and again, not going to spin up at all until the power supply reaches 40% load. For dimensions on the power supply itself, this is a standard ATX power supply depth-wise, which is this way, which is going to be the most key measurements in most computer situations. It's 180mm, so bear that in mind. And then the fan, I think I already mentioned, but that's a 130mm fan. Here at the back, you've got your main AC power connection point right there, as well as your on-off switch. And of course, lots of grilling via the hex pattern that you can see right there. And that's going to be where the exhaust comes out as the fan pushes air over the components and keeps the power supply cooled down. And that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, we've been taking a closer look at the Corsair RM series of 80 plus gold rated modular power supplies. And if you're wondering why we've only looked at the 750 watt version, it's because all these other boxes are empty. Very sad, but there you have it. They're also available in these other wattages. All of the specs for those will be listed on the respective websites for those, and you can find those links down in this video's description. While you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button over there if you found this video useful or entertaining or that sort of thing. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and we'll see you next time.